Every component in Ignition comes with its own unique set of properties by default. So here, for example, I have a label selected in the window in the designer. In the bottom left in the property editor, I can see all the properties that exist for that label. So we have properties like the text, or what's displayed on the label, the font, the background color, the foreground color, and more. All these properties here are provided by Ignition. It is possible for us to extend this list of properties by adding our own custom properties to the component. Basically, it's like adding variables to the component that we can work with in the screen. So I can right-click on the component and go down to Customizers and select Custom Properties. Pretty much every component has this customizer, so we can add custom properties to it. So when I go ahead and open that up, I can add one or more properties to the component. So by clicking the plus icon on the top right, we add a property. Every property is going to have, of course, a name. And the name, you want to make sure it's different from any of the names that we have already on that component. So I'm going to select value 1 here. Then we just specify the data type of that property, which can be an integer, a boolean, a string, a date, a color, whatever data type is appropriate for what you're trying to do. So here I'm going to select integer for my first property, go ahead and add a second one. I'm going to call this one value 2. I'm going to go ahead and make that one a double. Now I have 2 custom properties here added. When I go ahead and press OK, they'll show up in the bottom left of the component. At the very bottom, I'll see an area for custom properties, and there are my 2 values, value 1 and value 2. Custom properties show up in blue, so you know they're custom properties. All of the standard properties for a component, the ones that Ignition provides, are black up at the top here. Of course, we can bind these 2 custom properties to tags or to expressions or databases, or we can just simply set the value here statically depending on what you want to do with those custom properties. So again, they're like adding variables to a window. So I went and set the values to 2 and to 4.5 here. Now that I have some values, of course, I can use those properties throughout the rest of the window. Let's say, for example, that I want to just simply display the value 1 times value 2 on this label here. So I'm going to go up to the text property. I'm going to bind the text property by clicking the little button to the right hand side to an expression. I'm going to utilize those 2 custom properties here. So I'm going to go up in the top right and insert a property, going and selecting my labels value 1 and then multiplying that by value 2. At the very beginning, because this is a string, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say value equals and then concatenate this string together. So I have the math of value 1 times value 2, so I should see value equals 9, which is 2 times 4.5. So when I press OK, I can see value equals 9.0. So essentially, I can add custom properties, which are variables on the window, and then I can use them in binding. And the reason we kind of do this is so that we can easily, in the designer, to troubleshoot, we can go and see what the values of each of these properties are. Custom properties are not only important for particular components, they're also very important for passing parameters between windows. It's very common to add custom properties to the root container of a window. So you can do the same thing here. And that's how we can pass values from one window to another, especially on pop-up windows, where I click on a button, it's going to open the window, it's going to pass a certain set of values in, it's going to pass them into a custom property that we can then use on that window. So custom properties are extremely important and can be used for a variety of different functions in Ignition.